Crawford, Modica, and Holt, Chartered Attorneys at Law, here to help you overcome your legal obstacles. Our lawyers carry exceptional experience and work as a team with our fantastic support staff to provide practical solutions to your legal matters. Whether it be family law, criminal defense, land use and zoning, or complex litigation, probate litigation, business, and regulatory matters, the attorneys at Crawford, Modica, and Holt are here to serve you. Call us for all your legal needs at 352-432-8644.
Jen.
You don't know. Terrible. It'll be spicy. You look good tonight.
Okay, good evening. The date is October 6, 2025, and the time is 7:01 p.m. I hereby call to order the meeting of the City Council of the City of Groveland. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Vice Mayor Gaines, and invocation right after, so remain standing for Pastor Patty Opperly to lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
so I come underdressed, but I figured this would be an appropriate place because I live right in the city of Groveland where they're doing the water project, and my house has no water. So if anywhere I could come today, you would understand it was here. If you'll join me, please. Oh God, who has created the wind and the rain and the water, that each person here has differences of opinion. But Lord, thank you that we are here in a place to be able to share that in a respectful manner. And Lord, please anoint each and every council member, the mayor, and all the officials of this town with the hope and the peace and the grace as they seek to make this the best place to live. So we give you thanks for each person here tonight. In your holy name, amen. Amen.
Jenny, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Kehoe.
Here.
Vice Mayor Barbara Gaines.
Here.
Councilmember Amy Jo Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Judith Fike.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Gradzik.
Here.
City Manager Mike Hine.
Here.
City Attorney Anita Gerasi Carver.
Here.
Sergeant at Arms Chief Sean Ramsey. City Clerk Virginia Wright here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you very much. I see a lot of, before we go any further, I see a lot of new faces in the audience. Just a reminder, we have speaker form cards that need to be filled out if you want to speak on any specific topic, and they'll come up to the city clerk, so you'll be called on during that topic. We have no presentation or proclamations this evening. We have a consent agenda. Does anybody from the council want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Mr. Manager, was the stuff that I requested be removed, or do I have to make that request? I don't have a thing. Was it G? I'd like to discuss this evening on E, on F, on G, and on H.
I don't want it if you touched it.
Anybody in the public wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, any discussion? Seeing none, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I motion to accept the consent agenda.
Mayor,
We need to read the items, if you don't mind.
Go ahead and read it.
just for the record, Mayor, you're requesting E, F, G, and H to be placed under new business, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of approval, August 4th, 2025, City Council meeting minutes. August 18th, 2025, City Council meeting minutes. August 26th, 2025, City Council workshop minutes. Ordinance 2025-2, 133 Phelps Street, ROW vacation, second reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, vacating a portion of Lake Avenue shown on the plat of Taylorville as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 7 of Public Records of Lake County, Florida, located between Lot 2, Block 42, and Lot 7, Block 41 of the plat of Taylorville, vesting of title, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Resolution 2025-59, approving lien search fee increase from $25 to $75. Resolution 2025-66, approving FEMA grant agreement DR 4834 Hurricane Milton. Approval of ranking tabulation of contractors for the Community Development Block Grant CDBG Coronavirus CV RFQ solicitation for design build construction for the Cherry Street, South Lake Avenue streetscape and stormwater improvement, and authorize the city manager or designee to negotiate a contract.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I motion to accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Jenny, will you take the roll, please?
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines.
Aye.
Councilmember Fike.
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik.
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe.
Aye. Seeing no old business, we'll move on to new business. And we'll go ahead and take those resolutions up first. Resolution 2025-21, creating a Chapter 15, ordinance established policy related to the cemetery rules, rates, and perpetual care fund.
Read into the record. Ordinance 2025-21, creating Chapter 15 in the City of Groveland Code of Ordinances to establish policies related to cemetery rules, rates, perpetual care fund, as well as adopting rules and regulations pertaining to cemetery maintenance and burials, second reading. An ordinance by the City of Groveland, Florida, creating Chapter 15 in the Code of Ordinances of the City of Groveland relating to the regulation of city-owned cemeteries, providing for codification, applicability, severability, and conflicts, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. We have a presentation from Mr. Walker. Thank you for being here, Mr. Walker. Can I go ahead and ask him, or do I? Okay, take it away.
This is the second reading of the ordinance creating Chapter 15 in your Code of Ordinances to allow the city to establish policies related to cemetery rules, rates, perpetual care fund, and adopting the rules and regulations. So that'll be the later part of the agenda, or following this agenda item is the resolutions that will establish the fee schedule, and then another resolution establishing rules and regulation.
Thank you for that. Can I go ahead and bring up the situation that all right, before we go around? In reading through, and I just grouped them all together, and reading through the materials that were handed out, I became very aware that we are basing prices, I believe we're basing prices on what our peers are doing around us. The peers around us may not have the same business structure as we have. Why I say that is we're taking over cemeteries that are already well established, have a lot of lots already approved, and I think with the Greenwood, we have $190,000 in an endowment fee, an endowment already. But as we move forward, even with this change and 5% increase each year, by 2050, we run out of funds in the endowment. We have to start paying, or we start using funds because there's no more graves to be sold.
Hey, Jeff.
And yes.
Let me just interrupt you for 1 second. I believe that this ordinance is establishing the chapter in the Code of Ordinances generically. I think what you're wanting to discuss is G. So this is establishing that ordinance, and nothing has to do with prices or otherwise. Is that correct, Anita?
Correct. It does not have the actual fee amount.
Right. So this is just establishing a new chapter.
It allows
in
you
our
to
code.
adopt fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I have an objection to the way we're structuring it as a whole, whether the fees come into it, in that 20, by the time we run out, where the city is saying that we're signing up for $657,000 annual cost, as is in your figure 5 on page 22. And my whole thing about chapter cost and everything is, should we not be looking at pricing based on what we need to keep the endowment going, 1. And 2, should we not be creating a chapter that says only citizens of Groveland, if we're going to keep this going this way, because it's not fair for our taxpayers to be paying the subsidy coming down the road. Now, there's 2 ways we could go at it, you know, a strict, a very high cost for people that don't live in the city, or just have it available to people that have lived or do live in the city, which is another rule that would have to be in the chapter as we outline it in the rules and regulations. But for us to sign up, in my personal opinion, for these kind of costs is probably, in my opinion, a little bit irresponsible. I mean, I'm going to be dead in 2057 unless some miracle comes along, but my kids and my grandkids are going to be paying $500,000. Second, I don't know if in this study that was done in 2023, if this is current dollars, or dollars in 2057, is that $500,000? Because we're taking 5% increase every year, and that's going to give us, almost 100% increase on the current fees that still don't make up for the downfall. But I really am puzzled as to us taking on this fee, and it's really taking on liabilities. I'm all for cemeteries and keeping them up, but I'm also for let's make sure that it doesn't create a big burden for all of our people who don't use the cemeteries as well. So that's where my discussion needs to come from is, one, are we going to open it up for shoppers from Claremont and Winter Park or anywhere else that can come here and for a cheaper rate? Or are we going to say that this is going to kind of be restricted because we're subsidizing this with tax dollars? So with that, I'll open that for discussion. Or do you have any comments on what I just said?
A lot of information. The number you gave of $657,000, though, is also in the report for maintaining 4 cemeteries. So it's not inclusive. It's not an actual number of what's in the report. 657,000 was also including the Edgewood and the Duke Cemetery, if that was to ever take place in the future. So, I mean, there's a crystal ball here that isn't clear. We're trying to get to the first step. City council, previous council members, some current, some previous, directed staff to move forward with transitioning the cemetery. So those are the steps we took. Here we are. We've been utilizing grandfather, and if you want to say for the last 6 months since we've started managing and operating the cemetery, the church fees. So we're moving forward in the steps directed by council. Understand your concern at the end of the day. But the report gave several great recommendations, but we haven't got to step 1 yet as far as taking over the cemetery, officially establishing our fees, and our proposed fees today are doubling those fees from the church. So it is a start in that direction. We just have to, get our feet wet and get a sample of the tray to better, educate not just ourselves, but also our elected officials, our council. We feel we understand the operation since March, but there's a lot of vacant plots available and a lot of recommendations that we can implement. We just have to get to that point.
Thank you. We'll open it for discussion. Ms. Fike?
And I'll ask that you come back around to me because I'm still kind of wrapping my head around this a little bit. I don't know, so I'll preface this with I buried a husband in 2005, so I've been down the road of having to go through the personal, and many of us here probably have buried family members and loved ones, but I don't know that anybody goes grave shopping. I don't know that you go shopping for a price. You do, at least at the time we were living in Virginia, and my husband's buried in Fairfax, not far from where our house was, buried close to his mother. I think you look at a location for a variety of reasons, but I don't think it's price shopping, to be quite honest. No offense, Mayor. I almost find that a little offensive in the general term of things or scheme of things. I'm still, I don't have a problem with the fees doubling from where they were with what Edge had. There's a cost associated with everything. I find the fees to be reasonable enough. I understand that we need to maintain the cemetery. I take a look back at Taylorville that wasn't maintained. and look at what we had to do to recapture that to its beauty that it is now. And if we don't have some type of an ability or process in place to maintain our cemeteries, then I think we do a greater disservice to the families who have family members residing there, if you will, or who have purchased a final resting place. I would hate to think that we don't maintain it, and then we're in a situation like the Taylorville situation, long after I'm dead and gone, that we're going back and hoping to find the grants and monies to maintain it and keep it where it is. I, for one, have no issue with us maintaining the properties and the costs associated with it. And Mike, I believe you said the number that was thrown out is for 4 cemeteries, correct? I hate to call you back up to the podium.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, maybe I can provide some context, and I apologize again. My directive to Mr. Walker was to establish policy, procedures, and rates effective October with the new fiscal year, because the policy decision's already been made to transfer the cemetery. The fees have increased. Are they perfect? No, and we've had internal dialogue about resident, non-resident, and then what constitutes a resident, because there are many long-term individuals who have lived in the area, but not necessarily within the municipal boundaries. And as I expressed, I think several months ago, those are policy decisions that we can refine and talk about over time. The question about present value, those are future dollars in that report, if I recall, from 2023. But it still is an issue to consider. So tonight is simply to get the chapter established so it's in the code, so Mike can charge more than what has been charged in the past, because unfortunately we're still losing customers. We're gaining customers. So, I recommend that you approve what's here and continue to work with Mike and the RAC to look at these fee structures, and we can come back at any time and amend some of those aspects.
That's a great proposal. Could that be done in the next 6 months?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have already several months of operating history, as Mr. Walker expressed, but yeah, we can come back in 6 months with some of the key policy issues to discuss.
Yeah, I think that's a very good recommendation, and we'll go for other discussion, but when you're doing endowments like this, the earlier you get started, the less it's going to cost at the end, everybody at the end. So if we could do that, that's a very good recommendation. Amy Jo?
Okay, so I'm going to take these kind of one at a time. So E establishes the fact that we can even charge fees and set any rules and regulations. Is that correct? Either one of you? Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. And then G is adopting a new fee schedule that essentially doubles the fees that are currently being charged.
Along with some additional fees that are being recommended, yes.
Okay. And then F, or what is that one? H? Yeah, and then H is the new rules and regulations. Okay. I think this is the best course of action tonight, is to approve all 3, and then I do like the idea to kind of refine and look at everything we have and come back later and see if we need to correct anything, elaborate on anything. I think it's a good plan.
Yes, and Mr. Mayor, members of the council, yes, staff did look at other jurisdictions in the report. It kind of examined back from a couple years ago what other jurisdictions charge, and there are always nuances. Mr. Walker also worked with the RAC on Parks and Rec fee schedule for some of the rentals and other things.
Mr. Reggie?
So I heard you, Mr. Walker, talking about this $657,000 was for 4 cemeteries. I'll tell you that we're only discussing Greenwood, so it would have been nicer to know how much was going to be just for Greenwood. A little bit of a disconnect. I agree with everything Mr. Hines said with regards to establishing the chapter, some whatever fees we got, whether it's double. I understand you, Mr. Mayor, wanting to make sure we keep on increasing that endowment. It's $18,000 a year in maintenance right now? For
Under
Greenwood?
20 for the, for Greenwood and under 20 for Oak Tree.
Okay, and of the property that we're maintaining in Greenwood, that's the current property and nothing else needs to be knocked down or otherwise, so that is going to be landscaped with or without any additional
Everything that is currently being maintained and charged for is the entire 7.5 acres, which
So
is.
that price isn't going up because we clear some more land. It is what it is. For what, another 1,200 sites?
Transparent over time, the more customers we obtain, the more headstones, the more, I don't want to use the word obstacle, but it is landscaping around other elements that are possibly above ground, depending how our future forecast in designing it, whether it's more columbariums, which are recommendations, above ground niches that can save space in future, et cetera.
And none of these fees are to be charged to people that are already buried there. It's just moving forward.
That is correct.
Okay, that's important that people understand it. It's not, because I heard some people call me today, how could you be charging me for fees to maintain? So that's good too. I'm fine with everything else, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Mike, can you refresh my memory when we gave the go-ahead 6 months ago? At that time, did we solidify a policy as to who could be buried there? Was that solidified?
It was not defined. We just transitioned the operation from Edge Memorial Methodist Church to the city of Groveland, and we continued with the resident, non-resident, open door policy for sales, and then also, the previous sales for whoever has a deed or certificate of death to the property.
So I'm having trouble hearing. We did or we did not establish who could be buried there? We did not.
We did not limit it. We did not exclude or limit. Anybody can be buried there.
So I guess my question is, and I don't know if this is the place to do it, but my question is, if I had someone from Springfield, Ohio, that I wanted to be buried there, and they had not paid into the cemetery, is that fair?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Vice Mayor, I'm not sure Mr. Walker's prepared to talk about fairness, but what we're talking about is transferring responsibility of the operations. And what I can say is under the past management, under the Methodist Church, they would allow a purchase from someone from Missouri.
Well, I understand that he may not be prepared to talk about the fairness. I'm just trying to find out when is the right time for me to get an enhanced understanding of the policy as to who can be buried there. So maybe it's not fairness. Perhaps someone can tell me when I can bring that up.
We're going to talk about that next because that's one of the things that the mayor brought up.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm prepared to answer the question now.
Okay.
If there is a deceased person, a family of death, and regardless of where they're from, state of Florida, Hawaii, Alaska, Groveland, Mascot, Mineola, somebody can come to the city of Groveland, to the parks office currently, that's who manages the sales of the cemetery plots, fill out the appropriate paperwork and pay the appropriate fee, whether resident or non-resident, and they would have to have a funeral home then involved to engage the cemetery to identify where that plot and burial would take place. That's the policy.
It's current policy.
Correct.
And if they went to Claremont, how would that be handled?
Speak for Claremont.
Yeah, Claremont only does residents, right?
They do residents for in-ground, they do non-resident and resident for columbarium niches.
Any further questions?
No, I'm just, are you going to address this? I'm confused. I'm confused because I want to be.
We're going to take one
in line.
resolution at a time. We brought up the overall issues,
Okay.
and we can drill down as right now is E, Chapter 15, adopting a perpetual care fund. That's I call it an endowment fund. Cemeteries rates and rules. And E is rates and rules. So any further discussion? Any discussion from the public? No discussion from the public. Can I have a motion to accept 2025-21?
Motion to accept ordinance 2025-21.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Can we amend that? Yeah, I would. To say in 6 months?
I was going to put that on the other one where we talk about the rules.
Well, the
rules
rules,
and
but this one
regulations.
has cemetery rules and rates and perpetual care
It just allows
fund.
us to create
And
rules
E.
and regulations at all. It doesn't nail down what those rules and regulations are. The H nails down what the rules and regulations are going to be.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, whether it's item E or if it's item G, we understand we'll come back in 6 months, however you want to handle it.
Okay.
But don't we want to include in E residents and non-residents? Don't we want to get that in the chapter to start off with that?
As the city manager indicated, we know what the council's intent, that you want to discuss it, and then you can decide at that time if you want it in the code or if you want it in the policies and procedures.
Okay, because I was
And
thinking it
Mike,
would go in the
it's important
policies
we
and
get this
procedures,
Because
that it didn't
you
need to
got
be in the
history.
code.
Yeah, never mind. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, and we don't need the amendment, right, Mr. City Manager?
That is correct.
Okay. Motion and a second. We'll take a roll, please.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. F, Resolution 2025-57, amending rates for parks and recreational facility rentals.
I'm sorry.
You're okay.
You need to read it?
No, we don't have to read any of the resolutions this
Okay.
evening.
What you have before you is Resolution 2025-57. We're improving on the fee schedule. There's existing items. The fee schedule is color-coded, so green is existing that have been increased. Red colors are totally new proposals. And if there's no color associated in your fee schedule, that is an existing fee that has been in place. I'd like to add that my memo missed, and I apologize for that this was presented to your Recreation Advisory Committee in August 12th meeting. And they discussed, made some adjustments, and did approve the fee schedule that you have before you. And prior to your decision this evening, I also would like to, I forgot to include, I omitted when you get on page 7, the very last page of the fee schedule, I'd like to incorporate for the vendor event fees, a food truck fee. That was a recommendation from your Recreation Advisory Committee that I forgot to include, and that would be $50 per 10 by 15 space, plus a $10 electric fee. That would be for the second Friday block parties. And then for your special event vendor fees, those events that currently include Founder's Day, July 4th, and Christmas, those food truck fees, the recommendation is $100 per 10 by 15 space, plus the $10 electric fee. So incorporating the food trucks differently than your art and craft vendors' pricing. more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. We'll take it from your side, Amy Jo. Any questions?
No?
Ms. Fike, any questions?
Just curious, Mike, what's our fees now for the food truck vendors?
It was same as the other vendors, which was $10
$10,
per
yeah.
10 by 10 space.
And that was both Second Fridays and the special events like Founder's Day, et cetera.
The special event, the higher volume events, they were $25.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Radzik?
Mr. Walker, are we looking to set fees for the different programs in this as well?
Yes.
And what are those fees, and are they the same amongst all the sports, or they differ by soccer and basketball and baseball and softball?
Currently, the youth fees would be the same, $75 for an individual, and a sibling discount, $45. What does that mean? If you've got a family with multiple children, that second, third, et cetera, child would be at a discounted rate of $45. The adult program fees, $55 for an individual, or a team fee to cover all the players, $550.
We do not have a soccer program right now, or do we?
We will be wrapping up our T-ball program November 2nd, and then starting a younger soccer program in November and December. So that is our goal, just to get some traction leading to South Lake Regional Park so people can identify the programs with the city of Groveland.
So the goal on these fees should be to recover cost. It should not be necessarily a profit-making, since it's coming out of the general fund. But with that said, setting those fees at $75 may be cost prohibitive to maybe a disadvantaged kid. How are we going to handle that? Are we going to have a fire assessment fund type where someone can go for a hardship? It's rhetorical. My point is, $75 may be prohibitive to the point where we don't get a real good showing or real participation. So I think that rate needs to be a little bit lower, see what participation we get, instead of being prohibitive, and then maybe look to next year to raise it, or the year after that. But I wouldn't want any type of fees that people aren't going to be able to afford, especially in today's economy. So I think we need to balance that out, okay? And I wasn't joking when I said, if I have a disadvantaged kid, are we going to basically waive it because they're going to show me their tax returns and everything else?
From my experience over the last 20 years, how I would manage that, and obviously council gives direction, no child would ever be left behind. And there's always conversations, you know who those moms, those parents are, those guardians, where you have that conversation to make it work, whatever it is, whatever they can afford, or if it's nothing, it works out.
I think we need to make sure we live up to one of the strategic initiatives, which is heart. And we also need to be charming. Those two put together needs to be a fee less than $75.
And I will share, in this case, I won't mention a name, a local business, but local business heard about the T-ball program that was starting, and you might have seen in our advertisement that the first 50 children got to register for $25. That's because you had a local business that covered the $50 for every child that signed up for the baseball program.
Yeah, in my experience, and we have a lot of it, we've had sponsors. A lot of places offer at the bottom of a registration, you can add $10, $5, $25. You can pay for another child's registration. And in my experience, that's covered most of the kids. Parents can volunteer for stuff. If you volunteer to coach, oftentimes you get a discount or you get it for free. So there's a lot of ways to offset the cost. I haven't run into an issue where we've ever left any kid out.
Great, Vice Mayor.
I have no comment.
Just an ask. I think it was a good point that we're here to recover, not make a profit. So at some point, could we see what the actual cost is to maintain everything up against what our revenues are from these kind of things. I think that'll give us a much broader thing to look at. I'd like to ask about sponsorship. If I look at large regional parks like Sanford has Boomba on the front, and they got a significant amount of money to have that called Boomba Park, and without it, they could not do what they do. Are we looking at any kind of sponsorships for a park the size of our regional park?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, a couple of points. First of all, Mike and his crew do a good job actually reporting that cost recovery in each of the war reports for each of the programs, including the second Fridays, is a detailed accounting for revenues as well as expenses, including staff time. In regard to sponsorships, we don't have an active engagement going out and recruiting. Several years ago, the council adopted a naming rights policy that was brought forward through the RAC. It was a fairly long and extensive conversation about levels of sponsorship. And give me some time to kind of dust that off and see where we're at with that.
Okay, I appreciate the war report. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I took a lot of time today on it, but I don't see what the basketball revenue is versus the rental of the basketball arena. I don't see the cost of the lights and everything just for this park as opposed to what we use it for. I don't see that breakdown. I see it more lumped together. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but I think that's how we should take a look at it and see where there's room.
Yeah, no, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you're correct. I mean, we do it by program. I mean, the overall, as you know, you have an $85,000 per year lease for the gymnasium. We do have the cost for all the ball field lighting, if you'd like to go through that. But you're right, it's not tied back to specific programs. We could do a year-end cumulative report.
Yeah, I don't think we need to take up everybody's time. I just like to see it that way. So, thank you. All right, any further discussion, any public discussion?
Yes. Chuck Kensing?
Thank you, Council. And I'm a resident. I'm also on the RAC committee. So I have like to speak.
Your name and address for me, please.
Okay. Like I said, I'm on the RAC committee, and I'm also a resident of the city. I want to speak in those two.
We need your address for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chuck Kensing, 150 Bayou Bend, Groveland.
Thank you.
Okay. Regarding, you know, as a citizen, I've been on the RAC committee now for 6 years, and this year will, with the approval of the council, hopefully serve another 2 years on the RAC committee. It's interesting because we've looked at a lot of the various things that the council has in front of them. One of them is the fee structure, and that is always an issue in every agency that I've ever worked for, and I've worked 35-some years in the park and rec field. So I've seen a lot of the issues that come up. It's always the issue of trying to maximize the cost of a program versus making the fees reasonable for residents that can't afford them. So that's where the council is at this point in time. I will tell you, I think Mike has done an extraordinary job, his staff. They went to all the adjacent agencies around here and looked at their fee structure, and what they are proposing to council right now, I think, is a very reasonable approach to what is done. There are the opportunity, if you look at resident versus non-resident, to do it in a couple different ways. You can have different fee structures for that, or you can say, from a timing standpoint, you can say residents have this opportunity 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance of what the registration dates are for residents, and that could be, give them first option to actually sign up for it, and then a later date, or you can do that with different fees, but that's, the council's decision. So I think Mike's done a good job of preparing everything. If you have any questions of me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your input. Any more? More input? Okay. Well, seeing no more input, I just would add one thing about other places like Sanford and down the road. The more critical mass you have, the more people you have, the less the individual cost needs to be. So there's two ways to, I think it goes back to your point, but we have to have some kind of plan in order to get that critical mass so that we can get the numbers in line. Okay, so seeing no more discussion,
Could I say just a couple things, please? I just wanted to add that a couple other surrounding cities that do operate and provide the youth programming as a city parks department is the city of Leesburg, and their fees are $35 for residents and $50 for non-residents, and they provide baseball, softball, basketball, cheer, soccer, and football. Football is a little elevated because of the equipment needed, and that's at $150. The city of Tavares, it is $85 for all of their sports. That includes baseball, softball, and soccer.
and when you add that to the report, find out how many people are actually in those programs. And when I go and watch what they're charging for all those banners around the outfield on the baseballs and their different things, because I think those are sponsored. So.
And not to combat, but to add and support your comment, I will also say that this fee schedule does not include a team sponsor fee that we are testing the waters with. What does that mean? $350 for a team sponsor to have that business logo on the front of every child's uniform and coach's shirt. And right now we have all 3 T-ball teams that we have with a team front sponsor, and we're hoping to do the same for the 14 basketball teams. So not a banner. Same way, want to see if it works, and we will implement it into the fee schedule.
Very good, very cool. Okay. No more public comment? No more comment from?
We do have one.
Oh.
Tanner Allred.
Good evening. My name's Tanner Allred. Address is 18533 Watercrest Court, Groveland, Florida. It is outside the city limits, but I do own property in the city limits. I'm coming tonight on behalf of really being a resident of Groveland. I think I've talked many times with Mike Walker about parks and recs. I think he does a fabulous job. The biggest concern I have, I do run the Groveland Baseball League. I am the president of the Groveland Baseball League, and I do try to give back to the community. What I find a little different, growing up, living in the city of Groveland, now versus in the past. In the winter months, it gets darker. A kid gets out of school 3, 4 o'clock, and if they want to go up to the baseball field 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, the lights are now locked. We all know JT Memorial Park was given to the city of Groveland by the wonderful family that gave it, and the purpose was to be used for a baseball complex. Up until recently, maybe within the last year, the lights are now locked at nighttime. So if you want to take your kid up to the field to practice, to play, to use the playground, you do not have access to the lights. And just really wondering, why is that?
Well, do you want to answer that, Mr. Walker? Or Mr. City Manager, would you like to answer that?
Tanner and I could probably just sit here and read our texts back from the last few times, and we could probably cover the whole story. Just different philosophy. When I came here 6.5 years ago, it's just baby steps. Don't want to rock the boat as the outside guy, because I know how it is in the hometown and managing youth leagues. You don't want to rock the boat, change things, but just being with the government hat on, the city hat on. Just feel that if there's going to be a usage of lights or an additional expense, that there should be some covering of that to the city. Maybe not to the full extent. I mean, I shared with the mayor the other day the electric bill for the field breakdown for Jimmy Thomas Memorial Park. And, like Tanner just mentioned, different seasons, different time of needs with lighting. So, I mean, that expense could be $36 a month to $660 a month for a field. So my vision, my goal, your director speaking, if there's a need and it's in your fee schedule and has been in your fee schedule, if you want to rent a field, if you want to reserve a field, it's not mandatory that you have to pay to go use that field. You can go use that field, but if you want to make sure it's available for you or your team, then there's a process like renting a pavilion, pay the fee and it's yours, so it's yours if somebody comes there and tries to take it over. Lights, in my opinion, is a different story. There's a little more maintenance that goes on with the field. Tanner's argument, very good one. What about your hard court services, your skateboard park, lights on all the time, your basketball court? Why doesn't he just go hit ground balls there? You can do that. There's lights there. But a good point, but I just think it's a different wear and tear on a park, evening stuff, lights on those athletic fields. So, totally up to city council, but that light reservation, that field reservation is just to reserve it. Are the lights locked now? No, because there's always a way into something. So we took them off last week. Would they still be on though? If I wanted them, yes. But you pick your battles right now. This isn't it. When there is when we get to South Lake Regional Park and there's going to be a lot of usage and rentals, and there needs to be control. So small town, I get it. But we're at the direction of city council when it comes to lighting. I don't think tonight's that point. Tanner and I have a very good working relationship with the youth league, and there's some leeway back and forth. I think we are growing. What I meant to say when I started here 6.5 years ago, we need to join that partnership with the Groveland Baseball League and other youth sport organizations that go down our vision path and a true recreational league, and enter into a contract where there is some sort of annual fee tied into that, or a per player fee, and then maybe there is no such light fee, but it's a partnership fee. Use our field, we maintain it at a high standard, and we go from there.
So, hold it, because I'm a little mixed up. So the Groveland Little League is not part of the Groveland recreational thing? It's not
The Groveland Baseball League is their own nonprofit organization. They have for decades, 85 years, played at Jimmy Thomas Memorial Park, and I don't want to correct Tanner, but the property was given by the Department of Treasury of the state of Florida, back in the early mid-1900s. So they are their own nonprofit that have been using that facility for decades.
So when you do T-ball or something like that that's sponsored by us, the city, how does that work?
Good point. Now I understand your confusion. The Groveland Baseball League this fall season made a decision internally with their structure that they were not going to offer a fall season, which normally is through the months October, November, December. With South Lake Regional Park, I thought it was very important for the younger children at least to know that baseball was still being offered. So we stepped in and started a T-ball program at the park.
Okay, all right. That's where I'm mixed up on which this was.
I know my timer's out, but I would just like to add, I would love for the council to remember that whoever, whatever family, how JT Memorial Park got there, it's always been the Groveland Baseball League that has really built the complex. Fathers built the dugouts, the batting cages, the fencing. It's always been a community give. Now, since Mike has stepped in, the park is improved, the grass is nicer, the city is maintaining it, but there is still a lot of the foundation given by the residents or the community of the Groveland Baseball League.
And so you're performing I'm sorry, I'll get to you. So you're performing a service for Groveland. How many Groveland kids are in the baseball league? I mean,
Depending on the season, it could range from 120 to 180.
From Groveland?
Yes.
Okay.
But coming here as the president of that league and as a resident of Groveland, where if I want to go play basketball, I can, there's lights. If I want to go skateboarding, I can, there's lights. If I want to go to a playground, I can, there's lights. I would like to see the same at JT Memorial.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Ms. Fike?
I have no questions.
Mr. Radzik?
Okay. So, baseball is America's favorite pastime, okay? Along with apple pie and Chevrolet, if anyone ever remembers that jingle, okay? With that said, Tanner, we used to have lights going out at the skate park and at the basketball court around 9 o'clock in the summer and 8 o'clock in the winter. That's the way it used to be, and I remember the council member who was extremely insistent of saving money. So are we saying we do not shut the lights off in those other parks?
Yes, sir, we do.
We do? Yes. At 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if we're doing that at 9 o'clock for the basketball and everything else, then it should be 9 o'clock for baseball. I mean, seriously speaking, baseball in Florida is like, you know, well, you used to play ball, didn't you? So that is my goal, is to follow the same rules or the same light schedule as we have in all the other parks. So I just wanted to make sure that we're still doing it. So do we need to do the same thing? We need to encourage sports. We need to give the kids something to do. There's no place in subdivisions for people to do things, so leave the lights on. It's charming and it's hard. How's that sound?
Make a plaque out of it. Okay. Amy Jo?
I'm good. Does somebody physically go and turn off the lights at the skate park and the basketball courts? They're on timers. See, the baseball lights just being on all the time is kind of a problem too, because they don't need to be on unless somebody's using the field. So putting those on timers would be a waste of money, but having the box open, but then you have to pay an employee to go lock it at 9 o'clock. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as the issue there.
There's internal processes. I mean, you know, that we know where the access to the light switch is. We can put timers on those lights that kills power at a designated time so they no longer come on. So that's the direction we're given. We can make it happen.
As long as somebody doesn't have to physically go lock it at 9 o'clock, I think that would be good.
Get an app made. That way you can control it from your phone. Give it to someone.
I would just love to add, I mean, for 85 years, the baseball league has been there. I'm not sure how long the lights have been there, but the league is going to be as responsible as they can about turning off the lights. If somebody follows behind them and turns them on and leaves them on,
Well,
we can't.
I'm sure the league would be, but yeah, you know, other parents and other people and teenagers and.
They have been unlocked for the longest time, probably started getting locked a year ago. And I would be curious to see how many complaints there have been about the lights being left on all night. I think most adults are responsible enough to turn the lights off when they're done with their child.
Tanner, can I ask you one quick question? Do you find, and Mike, probably it's for both of you, one or the other of you or both can answer, the other part, the basketball and so on, the timers go off at 9 o'clock, correct? Did you just?
They do.
They do. So if this goes on, are people at the ballpark playing that late? I know you talked about children coming in after school. It's darker in the fall. We know it's starting to settle in now. Do we find that we have them there that late? So is 9 o'clock the reasonable hour? Would 8 o'clock be a more reasonable hour? Something like that?
I mean, I live here. I'm at the baseball field almost every day. When I leave the park at 8 o'clock, I do see kids playing basketball majority of the nights.
Okay.
So it is being used.
Okay.
But today it's raining,
So
and I'm sure
there.
nobody's there.
Right. But 9 o'clock then would be the perfect bewitching hour for you, is what you're saying.
The league is never there past 9 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
No comment.
Okay, my last comment would be, we're going to pay for it, add it into the overall charge, you know, so it's fair to everybody. You amortize it over everything. I know, yeah, we had a 600, but mostly there were 30, 40s, and I think this month, last year, was $257 in the, so it's not an exorbitant amount, but to recover it, put it in the fee.
I think I got to disagree. We're not charging some kids to go to the basketball court to play at night. We're not charging them, so how can I charge someone going on a baseball field? And I'm not charging someone to go on a skate park. So I'm not sure that I
And in
would
the
wanna
winter,
increase-
there's no baseball league to charge.
What's that? Excuse me?
The winter, they don't play, so technically they're not playing for a league in the winter. There's nobody to charge then.
Yeah, they're just pickup.
Right.
They're just pickup at the other ones, not a league or not where people are making or getting money, even though it's a 501c3. It's, there's money passing through the whole thing. So I'd take a look at that. We can't do it tonight, but I'd strongly recommend taking a look at what that fee structure is. And again, I don't want to harp on it, but I really like to make sure that the citizens have a different schedule than people coming in from other cities to utilize it if they're renting it for something. Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, if we've done public, could we have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-57.
With the fee structure modified on the lights?
Was the food truck modification in there, Amy Jo? The fee structure, doesn't the food truck modification go in there, the fee structure for the food trucks that you talked about?
Oh, yeah.
As long as we can include the food truck.
It's on that document, yeah.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mike, you mentioned during your presentation that you omitted a section about fees for food trucks. Do they need to amend the motion to include the language during your presentation,
Okay.
to include the language on food cart? Thank you.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-57 and amend it, adding the section for food truck fees.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Let's take the roll, please.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote? Aye. Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
So moved, passed. Resolution 2025-58, approving Greenwood Cemetery fee schedule.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as discussed earlier, this would adopt the fee schedule. Exhibit A in your packet outlines those fees and shows the differential between resident and non-resident.
Okay, well, I think we've beat that horse to death, so any further discussion on the fee schedule? Seeing none, any public input on the fee schedule? Seeing none, can I have a motion to,
Penny has. Mayor, we do have Alan Joyce.
oh, I'm sorry.
Alan Joyce, 17250 Heavens View Way in Lake County, Florida. And just to add some information on your discussion, about 10 years ago, my dad had passed, and my mom had moved into Trilogy. My in-laws had moved into Trilogy. And so we started our adventure on what to do with that situation. And we went to different cemeteries. I was tasked to do that. And some places were really, really expensive, like Woodlawns over in Winter Garden area. Howie in the Hills would not allow you, at the time, I don't know about today, but at the time you had to be a Howie in the Hills resident to buy a lot over there, but you could buy more than one lot. And then if your mother or father or whoever lived somewhere else, when they passed, you could put them there as long as you were a resident of Howie in the Hills at the time. Other cemeteries, and there was quite a few of them, would not allow above-ground tombstones or headstones or anything above ground because it was becoming a major issue for lawn keeping and stuff. So to reduce the cost, anything in the future, they said, hey, you got to have everything in the ground. You can have a little plaque that sits below the ground so the mowers don't hit it. And we ended up buying in the Greenwood Cemetery before the city bought it. This is 10 years ago. We bought 10 plots. And my dad's buried there, my brother's buried there. And so I just wanted to give you that information because there's nuances to if you're a resident, but what if you buy family plots and all that stuff, and then the cost savings of what's above ground, not above ground. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the input. Further public comment? No? Okay, motion?
Make a motion to accept Resolution 2025-58 and with the caveat that we're going to come back and revisit it in about 6 months.
I have a second. I have a second, didn't you?
I'll second Amy's motion.
Okay, can we go ahead and take the roll, please?
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye, so passed. New business, number 1, consideration for approval, treatment of institutional and nonprofit for fire
We're on
assessment
H.
fees.
Wait, we still got another one you pulled.
Oh, H.
H.
Thought we were done.
Sorry.
2025-62, approving rules and regulations of the Groveland cemeteries.
Your final resolution, making us in cemetery business in line with City of Groveland. So just asking for approval or any, questions you may have for Resolution 2025-62.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Seeing none, any public?
Well, I got a question. So rules and regulations. Do we have something outlined? Rule number 1, you need to be dead? I mean, what types of, no, seriously, what type of rules and regulations are we talking about?
Wasn't there some in the packet? I thought I read some rules in the
Yeah,
packet.
Mike, I think, yeah, well, I'll let Mike speak to it.
The very first paragraph gives a lot of definitions, and I think it is very clear on who can purchase a
Okay.
plot.
All right. It's just kind of strange that I saw rules and regulations for a cemetery.
Actually, there's rules and regs where Jim is buried, so.
No loud parties,
That too, but, at the dates that you can place a wreath, dates that it has to be removed, things like that. So believe it or not, they have HOA rules in the cemetery as well, my friend.
That's right. Okay.
Come join us for a week, sir. You'll understand.
Any public input on this? Seeing no more input from, let's go ahead and get a motion in a second.
I'll move I move we accept Revelations, Resolution 2025-62, approving rules and regs of the Groveland cemeteries.
Thank you.
That we're going to revisit in 6 months.
To be revisited in 6 months.
Perfect. I'll second.
There you go.
Okay,
Well done.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Fike, how do you vote? Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. Consideration of approval, treatment of institutional and nonprofits for the fire assessment fees.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. As a follow-up from your special meeting from September 22nd, where council gave direction to staff to come up with policies and practices that would support a 75% reduction in the fire assessment for institutional nonprofits and other entities. Chief Carroll, along with other staff, worked tirelessly to kind of go through and work with the property tax collectors' records. What we found is that not all the nonprofits, faith-based communities, and others, organizations that the council had articulated were captured under institutional, but some were also under commercial nonprofit. So we took the time to go through there. You have in your attachment a list of 25 organizations that staff has identified between combing the records along with their knowledge of the community that we are recommending the council approve this evening for the institutional 75% reduction in the assessment. If the council makes a motion and it's approved to move forward with those 25 properties tomorrow, we have worked with the tax collector's office and they have not gone to print yet. So we will have their codes entered in, so they won't ever get the full bill. They would get the 75% reduction along with a letter, a little more charming than what's in the attachment, but a letter identifying that the mayor and council took this action. Again, staff is looking for a motion to approve these 25 for this tax year. If we have missed somebody, which is entirely possible, they are free to come forward and petition the mayor and council for relief. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer. Chief Carroll is here along with Pam.
Thank you. Chief Carroll, you want to come up to where you can be seen and answer any questions?
I think if there's any questions, he'll be glad to answer.
Ms. Carroll?
No, I don't have any questions. I think we've covered it.
Mike?
I'm good. We covered it. Comfortable.
Mr. Radzik?
I'm good.
No comment.
No comment? No comment from myself either. Any public comment?
There's none.
Seeing none? Okay, then let's go ahead and take the motion.
Make a motion to approve the proposed treatment of institutional and nonprofits for fire assessment fees.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and take the roll, please.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. That takes us on to reports, public comment.
Robin Hoover?
Good evening, Robin Hoover, 1387 Ardmore Road, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff, and neighbors. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Groveland Historical Society as our president, Jason Brown, curator. I would like to thank the city for stepping up to take care of the maintenance and the care of Greenwood Cemetery, along with the Oak Tree Union Cemetery. I would also like to volunteer our assistance with any future plans for the Greenwood Cemetery that the city will develop. Since it is also the site of Groveland's second church and schoolhouse, known as the Union Church, we would like to see that site is remembered. Now for a little history. Around 1870, Simon Brown, a sugarcane farmer, settled on the north shore of the Palatlakaha River with his family, including his mother, Ellender Summerall Brown. Being shallow enough to run a wagon over, the spot served as the main crossing point of the Palatlakaha River, and the area soon became known as Brown's Ford. In 1886, Ellender was one of the first in the area to pass away and be buried on a plot owned by their neighbors and the family of Casadina Dukes Daniels. It soon became known as Dukes Cemetery, as more of their relatives were buried there. Casadina soon established the area's first school in 1889, and it also served as the church on Sundays. It became known as the Brownsford Church and Schoolhouse. As the railroad came through the connects from Sanford to St. Petersburg, it also paved the way for the Lewis Taylor, a turpentine distiller, along with his brothers and black workers and families to move their business here near Lake David. The railroad began to replace the river as the main source of transportation and shipping, so the settlement began to move to the south. Closer to the Taylor still, and there's homes near the railroad tracks. They soon changed the name to Taylorville. Later, around 1900, another turpentiner named Elliot Edge came to the area with his wife and 4 young children, along with another group of black turpentine workers and their families. Mr. Edge purchased the holdings of the Taylor brothers and expanded the business. Edge developed a historic downtown and in 1904 donated the land for the new and slightly larger school and church between the downtown and the river in order to upgrade the Brownford Schoolhouse. It became known as the Union Church and School and housed 7 different denominations. In 1906, Freddie Knight Edge, one of Eliot's youngest sons, died and was the first to be buried in this church. The site became known as Greenwood Cemetery. It is believed that some of the early black pioneers and their families that arrived with the Taylors and the Edges were buried near Duke's Family Cemetery in what is now known as the Oak Tree Union Colored Cemetery of Taylorville. The earliest gravestone is dated for 1909 for Maggie Blaine at 4 years old. It would still be another year or more before Mr. Beach arrived and began to propose to Mr. Edge of changing the name to the town of Groveland. There are many more cemeteries around Groveland with their own histories and families, but they are too much to tell now. So we invite you to come to the museum right across the breezeway. We're open for the public for free every Saturday from 1 to 3 and during Second Friday events. On that note, on behalf of the Groveland Historical Society, I would like to thank you for the use of the Puryear Building on September 26th for one of our first of many talent shows. The showcased local talent and some far as away as the Cala as they performed a variety of skills in an audience to over 54 people. Our judges, Jason Brown, president of the society, Sharon Keeble, editor of the Groveland Sun, and Leighton Irving of Laffey Digital, awarded prizes up to $50 to our contestants, and also one of our local vendors who received a People's Choice Award for their culinary art. The MC for the event was Luke Kappen of Claremont HVAC and coordinated by members Robin Hoover and Wilma Brown. The event was enjoyed by all, and one attendee described the event as being like a Hallmark movie where the community comes together to support each other. We received so many requests to hold these more often, even monthly, that we will be adding it to our regular events for the upcoming year, along with our other annual themed dances, Founders Day, essay contests, history presentations, and other community events. We invite you to attend our upcoming events, The Mad Curator, a history theme escape room on November 1st from 4 to 8, and the Winter Snowball in December, dates and times to be announced. So that is all on behalf of Jason Brown, President and Curator of the museum. Myself, I'm just reminding you that October 19th is the 3rd annual 5K, Pink Ribbon Fun Run, 1K as well here in Groveland. Registration's at 7 and the race starts at 8. Sign up. Thank you.
Very professionally done. Look at that time. Right on time. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Helfrich.
Farmer Banks Helfrich, Clay Road District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day, cool weather months, cool weather season. You can put in your brachysis, which are broccolis, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbages. You can also put any vegetables underground, so the onions and carrots, beets, and turnips. And by the way, turnips grow like weeds here in Florida. You can also grow the quintessential fruit/vegetable, which is the tomato. Put them in the ground, and I'll talk about that a little bit more next month. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, the U.S. Constitution, roughly 250 years ago, was created and ratified by our forefathers. Immediately thereafter, they worked on the amendments. The first 10 amendments are considered the Bill of Rights. Very apropos, since they are the rights given from our government to our citizens. These rights include the right to petition our government, the right to worship, the freedom of press, the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and also the right to due process. These rights are explicitly written in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, in our amendments. And with these come a caveat. And that caveat is each right has an individual responsibility which goes along with it. So yes, you can go into the middle of the market square and you can yell at the top of your lungs, express your views. You can go on social media and say exactly what you want to say. My mom always said, words stay with you for your whole life, so be careful what you say. With saying these words, with expressing yourself, remember the individual responsibility of saying these words. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Well, that's all of our public comment, so we'll move on to council. Ms. Fike?
Thank you. I just want to say that I attended the Latin Festival put on by Pastor Mayor Bloom on Saturday. It was an inaugural event. It was very well attended. He got a little rained out. Sorry to have seen that. So I want to take a moment now, a brief moment, to clear some air regarding the use of my title, Councilwoman, on social media. Apparently, it caused some spilkus. The mayor had an email that he sent to Anita on Friday, June 27th, that said he thought it was a gross violation of our code of conduct because opinions on the fake tweets were expressed under a banner defining myself as a Groveland City Council member. So, okay, fair enough. It's kind of hypocritical. The practice of claiming we have moral standards or belief is the hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. And I find that rich because, Mayor, on your Facebook page, and I love show and tell, on your Facebook page, it calls you the mayor at the city of Groveland. And Vice Mayor Gaines, yours has you as the vice mayor for Groveland, Florida City Council. Mine, this is an old photo, I have a new picture on it, but it's the same one, Councilwoman, District 4 at City of Groveland Municipal Government. Amy Jo, yours says Groveland City Council, District 5. And not to be outdone, Mike, yours also lists that you have been, works at the City of Groveland, 2019 to present, and a variety of your other roles. So, just want to clear the air on that. Oh, and my LinkedIn page also says I'm Councilwoman for Groveland, Florida. And you know, when I'm no longer up on this dais, it'll say former Councilwoman. It's the way it rolls. So I don't know why, Mayor, you were so outraged, but that's okay. You're allowed to have your outrage, but the entire dais has it on their pages as well. But let's talk about some consistency. Mayor, you recently posted a glowing business endorsement for a District 4 candidate on your personal Facebook page, which clearly identifies you as the mayor of Groveland. So what I'm trying to determine is when an elected official uses their title to promote a candidate's business, is that a personal endorsement or an official one? And if it's the latter, does that cross into using public office to influence an election? Now let's talk about the so-called tweets. The mayor publicly claimed he didn't know anything about them until the week before an article ran in the Claremont Sun. But public records tell a different story, and I have a ton of public records. You discussed them with the city attorney back in early June. On June 5th, to be exact, weeks before any article, you even told Mr. Jim O'Neill not to speak with me about the tweets, saying the city attorney would handle it. Odd, isn't it, that you were instructing my opponent in the District 4 race that a city resource would manage the situation. Then on June 20th, I spoke with the city attorney when she handed me the packet of fake tweets and told me directly the matter was political, not city business. Yet just 6 days later, Nathan Focht, who has since admitted to sending those materials, forwarded them to you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and others, the same altered documents the city attorney had handed to me on June 20th. So if the mayor truly believed it was a political issue, why is it still circulating that I was using city resources? Why claim ignorance later to the reporter? Mayor, on June 7th, you stated that we need to find out who was involved, and I agreed. We all voted on it. I said, yeah, let's get to the bottom of it. I think maybe we could start with you, given your involvement and your potential use of city resources in this entire ordeal. And let's not forget the so-called IT investigation. I filed a records request. I talked about this on June 15th, and it came back that I didn't use IT in any way. But here's the report that has spent thousands and thousands of taxpayer dollars to tell you the same thing I told on the 15th of September. All I did was a records request, and it came back and said there's nothing there. It's a nothing burger. No substance, no nothing. So all I'll say is, going to put a fork in it, call it done. No need to go and ask for individual records requests, ladies and gentlemen. It's all in a package going to our city clerk, so you can just ask for the package that I've handed to her. It's all here for your reading pleasure. The 11-page document from Brown Law and Consulting. Tomorrow I'll have the full download or full cost of the investigation, both from the insurance company cost, when the city had to pay my attorney and pay Roper and Roper that went to court when I went to court, as well as all costs associated with this report. I'm actually a line item on it. God bless you, Anita, I'm a line item on your billing, the Judy Fike cost. So it's been thousands of dollars, ladies and gentlemen. In August, there was a $720 line item cost for me, and then another $2,100 in July. I'm just waiting for the rest of the cost. This is your taxpayer money being thrown down the river for things that never should have ever evolved. It was false from the start. It still is. I know the mayor will argue that, but here's the report. Thank you.
Mr. Radzik?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was a busy couple of weeks, but not in the city, so I didn't have much. I don't have anything at all to speak of. I would like to get clarification as to the statutes that are on our desk.
I provided those because I had a couple questions from council members about the Republican party event that's going to take place on Saturday at Trilogy. It was reported based on an announcement that the mayor would be speaking on the charter amendments. In speaking with him tonight, he said he's not going to be speaking on that. But I was providing that so council would know what you can say and what you can't. If you have further questions, I'm happy to answer those individually, but the mayor indicated he will not be speaking on that topic.
So, just for my personal information, 106.113 and 104.31, those are, is this from the Code of Ethics?
This is from Florida statute. The 106 that I cite, .113, expenditures by local government, this talks about and it was adopted in 2022 or amended in 2022, that you can't spend local government funds to promote charter amendments, but it does say that it doesn't preclude an elected official from expressing an opinion on any issue at any time, and it doesn't preclude certain things being stated, or like we have it posted on your website, all the ballot questions. So there are things you can do, you just can't expend funds for it. And then the other statute, 104.31, really speaks to political activities of municipal officers and employees and what they're allowed and what they're not allowed to do.
And you can always safeguard yourself by, in my opinion, versus representing yourself as mayor or council member. If you hit with my opinion, you're okay.
That generally is the case.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Joe?
All right, so first I think I'm going to circle back to the, that it lists that I'm city council member on my personal Facebook page. It in fact does not. I do have a district representative page, and the difference is if you have a political page, you can't block anyone. You can't delete any comments, even if they're dissenting and rude and obnoxious and threatening. Those are because it's public dialogue. But anyway. I think you'll find my occupation on my personal Facebook page is listed as chaos coordinator, which alludes to the fact that I have 9 kids and 3 jobs, and somehow we make it through the day. So back to my council report. I wanted to see if I can get a consensus to, in the future, discuss how we handle nonprofits and using our parks, so for their fees and whatnot. If we want to waive those or discount those for nonprofit events. I just wanted to see if we can put that on a future agenda to discuss.
So can I weigh in on that?
Absolutely.
Through the years, Groveland Cares has had Thanksgiving dinners, and we've never been charged for the use, and we're a 501c, not a C3. We never would charge for the use of the Lake Davis Center or here. So, but that was always a city manager. Mike, were you here when I had any of those dinners?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Councilman Radzik, I don't recall. I know that you had that function. I'd respectfully request that we have a broader conversation about that with maybe the new incoming mayor and council. And the reason I say that is we've been struggling not only for the treatment of nonprofits, but whether or not the city is then a sponsor. and what those expectations are about attendance and promotion. So I hear, I think, what you're saying, but I encourage you to maybe put that off just for a little while. I am having internal meetings with Frankie and Mike Walker about our special event application process and timelines, because there are some wonderful, cherished groups in this community who kind of push certain boundaries on timelines and expectations. So I'd like to have a more thoughtful.
Okay, as long as that's
comprehensive.
going to come up at some point, because it came up in
it-
conversation recently, and I wanted to get that out there.
Thank you.
So if you're already working on it, we'll let that ride for now.
Thank you.
Second, we went on a field trip with our nature school to Waterwell Farms. The kids learned how the aquaponics farm worked. We went fishing to try to get some of the larger tilapia out that are getting too small or too smart and scarce in the pen to get them out with the net. Some of the kids caught big fish. They were really excited about it. I took my kids to Imagination Village, which is a new business in the Hunt Industrial Park, and it was phenomenal. They dressed up as Groveland firefighters, and they had a great time. So I just wanted to tell you, if you haven't been there, you might want to check it out. I attended several community garden work days. I attended the Groveland Historical Society meeting and the talent show for Groveland Historical Society, and then I also attended the Lake Economic Area Development annual meeting, and there was a lot of good information there. So that's it.
Vice Mayor?
As the ex officio for the South Lake Chamber of Commerce, I attended that meeting. Also, the responders' breakfast. Participated with the update for the comprehensive plan. Also attended the huddle at the Public Safety Complex. Met with 2 small businesses. Attended the 21st anniversary of the Caribbean Gala. And also with the nonprofit South Lake Junior Women's Club, which the city also partnered with on how to college right here in the Puryear building. I have 2 announcements. As many of you know, I am a small business advocate. This weekend, I had the pleasure of meeting a small business, although in Claremont, I know for a fact pickleball does not have any boundaries. I have cards here where there is a business that has started up 6 months ago in Claremont, and it's called Pickleball on the Go. So for those that are interested in that, you know, they can come here. They're called Pickleball on the Go. So I wanted to advise you of that. The nonprofit again, the South Lake Junior Women's Club, there's going to be a Veterans Appreciation Dinner on November the 1st from 2 to 5 at the Mineola City Hall. Veterans get in free. It's a free dinner for veterans. And the ticket price, what it includes is admission, food, and 1 paddle. I don't know what a paddle means, but okay. So if anybody is interested in it, there is this QR code that you can scan. I told them that I would bring it and let this speak for the veterans, to let you all know that we in Lake County appreciate you all. Last but not least, I want to talk about done. I am so done that you can stick a fork in me. That is how done I am. Yes, does Barbara Gaines talk about the city council on her website? You doggone right. I put it on Facebook. You see, because I am here to serve the constituents in any way that I can. And it is my right to put my information out there to my constituents and the city of Groveland to get the word out as best I can. You see, the difference between Barbara Gaines putting this information on her Facebook page is that none of mine was vile, mean, and racist. That is the difference. I am here to serve not only a few people, I am here to serve the constituents. I do it with integrity, and I do it with passion. You see, there is no shame in Barbara Gaines' game. I'm done. Stick a fork in me.
Thank you. In my report, one, Mr. Hine, you sent out a demographic report, which was very, very interesting. I would like to ask for consensus from the group here to have you come back in December with a suggestion on how we might start looking at redistricting based on those facts and figures, and I think that's an important piece of city business that we need to take care of. Secondly, I also attended the Latin Festival in Claremont, put on by Mr. Bloom. It was outstanding. There must have been a couple thousand people there. There was no parking. It was unbelievable. Mr. Bloom is, and I are going to have lunch this week. He's interested in bringing that to his hometown. And we've been battling on how to get, he has the marketing down, he has it, the system down. So I'd like to arrange with somebody from the staff to have lunch with myself and Mr. Bloom to kind of discuss any details on that. That would be very much appreciated. And last, to address you, Ms. Fike, your essence of revisionism is unbelievable. I'll take an example. Who voted to have the investigation?
I said in my report that I did agree to it.
You voted for it, and you asked to have your name cleared. You asked for the investigation to take place. Then you refused to let the investigator take a look at that account. I will go through the timeline next. I've had that for weeks. Next meeting, if need be, on when I found out about it, and I was misquoted in the paper, and you can ask the editor about that because I sent in writing the timeline when I found out from your neighborhood that I should be looking into these different words, and they were brought up with 7 people around the table. I went to make sure that they couldn't have been hacked. Twitter can't be hacked. If you have the super account, you can only change it for 1 hour after you put something in. So until you say what you're going to do and do what you say and open that up, I have nothing else to believe, but those are correct. I saw them personally right off the bat, and they were vile. And if people want to take a look at what we didn't talk about that we turned in, you know, they're welcome to because it's part of public information. So if I were you, I would just, I don't know what I'd do if I were you. I just looked at my Facebook account. I couldn't see mayor on it. I saw something from planning and zoning. So we are going to ask, and we have submitted to the ethics committee or ethics input, as we said, to make sure that from this point on, none of us have our city title on our personal accounts, as well as how to follow up when situations like this happen again. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to, excuse me, Mr. Hine, do you have anything?
Well, didn't
Yeah,
you
Mr.
want a
Mayor,
consensus?
Oh, consensus.
You want
Oh,
a
yes.
consensus?
Do we have consensus on the demographics to bring it
Yes.
back?
Yes.
Yes. And Ms. Fike? Okay, and consensus. And maybe just because it's very complicated, during the Thursday meetings, you can kind of tell us what the path is? You know?
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward path.
All right. Okay. Any
Yeah,
report?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, sorry, I do have one thing. It was a good thing, and I apologize for any disruption after the invocation because Pastor Patty surprised us with the water being out, and apparently there was a nick on a line right outside of her residents for about 20 minutes. Water is restored, full PSI. We've talked to the pastor, and she was able to shower.
Should I guess who nicked that line?
No, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I am afraid to suggest that it was not our favorite contractor on fiber optics and internet. It was actually the crew that has done such an outstanding job on the water main replacement in the old part of town.
Okay.
So you blame them anyway.
Thank you.
No report, thank you.
Mr. City Manager, you want to talk about the Youth Council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Vice Mayor, you may know off the top of your head more than I, but I sent an email out last week, I believe, to announce a wonderful program in conjunction with the Youth Council that Ashley has put together with a local entrepreneur who does seminars for youth empowerment and business ideas. So he's meeting with them tomorrow. In the Youth Council meeting to talk about the workshop later this month, or next month. So that'll be open to 35 participants, and once we have all the details, we will be opening it up to our own Youth Council members first, and then filling the remainder.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for that. Okay, seeing no further comment, we'll adjourn the meeting.